Hi everyone, this is Carol again from My Endless Endeavors, and I completed a project and I'm so excited to share this with you. I made a calendar out of the paper coasters that are square, and I would, I guess, compare this to a mini album, which I've never done one before, so I'm really excited to share it with you. So what I've done is all of the images that you'll see here are taken from a calendar that a friend of mine gave me 4 or 5 years ago, and it was a one that you tear off the pages. So I had 365 pages of these pictures, and so I happened to save those, and I thought those would be perfect for these calendars. So what I've done is just covered the coaster with paper, and then the images I've either mounted on other paper to give them a border or something. I've done something with them. So this happens to be January, and I used a piece of lace, a piece of ribbon, a string of pearls. These are snowflakes that were in this from Laurel, and it's from the Making Memories flower shop, and so I used the snowflakes from that. Then I had some plastic snowflakes that was in a sequin box from a long time ago. So I added those, added these little gold sequins and a little blue sequin, and layered them, and then topped it with a little rhinestone. And then this is actually a plastic or some kind of composite resin rose that has a flat back that looks like it's metal, but it's not. So that's my January. And then I made it just so that they flip over to the next month. So this is February, and again I've got the image, a place for the calendar, paper to fit. I used lace, I used some buttons, some vintage buttons, and some ribbon roses and some more buttons here. And then I had gotten this gold heart-shaped stick pin from one of my various shopping sprees at my local thrift stores. So I added that on there, and I thought that turned out real pretty. So flip it over to March, and again I have the image there that I mounted, and a ribbon rose and some silk leaves that I just kind of inked on the edges just to make them kind of brown. This is a piece of gold flecked tulle, some gold beading down here. Then these are some gold coins. They're like charm coins, and I glued those on there. And this is a gold button, and it actually stands up away from the paper. So that's my March page. And this is my April page. And each of my calendar pages I inked on the edges and curled a corner or two. Sometimes I did two. This one is, I used a piece of braid trim here. This is a stick pin that I made. It's got some purple beads and a pearl at the top. This music paper here I took from a gift bag, and I just tore the edges of it and then distressed it, And there is a piece of ribbon under here, or piece of lace, but you really can't see that because I got it all covered up. And then these purple roses there. And then these, this is just a spray, pearl and a crystal spray that I stuck down in there. This is May. And I think May may be one of my favorite ones. This is a ruffle that I made out of some vintage netting, and then I ran a bead trim over top of it. And then these are some recollection. This white is a recollection flower that I layered with a flower out of this collection, and then I've layered it with two small silk, pink and white silk pieces, and centered it with a rhinestone, and added some buttons. And this is a vintage button here, and this is a leaf from one of my thrift store hauls of a spray, and I just left it white. And then this is a silver one of those roses that look metal, but they're some kind of resin. And then this is June, and on this one I actually mounted this image onto a thick piece of cardboard so that it was kind of raised. And then I did some stamping with some brown ink and added this brown grosgrain ribbon, a piece of lace, some satin, blue satin roses. And then this is a button that had this chain attached to it. And then this, I think, is actually a vintage cufflink, because it has like a button on the other side, and then this was attached to it, and I just left that there because I thought that made a really cute little charm. And since Father's Day is in June, I wanted it to be kind of masculine. And then you flip it around, and there's July. And July I used just some lace, and there's a tiny piece of ribbon here, and this star image here I cut out of a gift bag. And then these stars were from this collection again that I got from Laurel. Thank you, Laurel. Then I've got another one of those metal looking roses, and this is just a piece of ribbon that's red, white, and blue that I folded over. And in this image there is a flag here, and so I thought that was appropriate for July. And then this is August, and I have to say this is probably another one of my favorite pages, because I actually covered the whole paper with this piece of lace, and then I made my image an oval, and these are some vintage buttons here. This one I left the fibers actually attached to it, and this is a vintage button that's still got the rhinestone in the center. And then this little rose I made from a paper doily, and that was actually my first attempt at making any kind of flower, so I thought it turned out real pretty. This is my September page, and I used a rub-on here that just kind of reflects, I thought, a little bit of the image, and I've got this ribbon trim here and some ribbon roses, and then these beaded loops that I made that I thought added a little bit of flash to the page. And then I also twisted the stems of these roses which I thought gave a little bit of character to that page too. This is my this was my September page. This is my October page, and from the image there's some pumpkins in there, so these pumpkins are from this paper collection of cutouts from Laurel, and I used some cream lace, some orange lace, piece of satin ribbon there, and then I made this little ruffle and centered it with one of those little roses. This is my November page, and I used a couple different trims here, a brown and a cream, or kind of a goldish. It almost has some glitter effect to it. Some vintage buttons, and this one here is actually a leather button. These leaves that are from the collection of cutouts from Laurel. And then I have a vintage dictionary, and I tore a page out of a page in the dictionary of the definition of Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving Day. And I just inked and distressed the edges of it and attached it to that page. And then this is my December page, and I did mount my picture on a piece of cardstock. Then I added another color cardstock back here of kind of a burgundy reddish color, and there's a piece of lace, this beaded trim. This is a strip of grunge board that I inked, and it was already had this impression in it, so I took my stickles and I went over that impression. And this flower here is from I Am Roses, and it's part of this collection of flowers, and there's all different colors in there. And I made this bead loop, and up here is a snowflake that I stickled and put a bead loop on it, and this is a little I Am Roses flower here in the center of that. So that is my calendar, and again, I'm excited to share that with you, and I would appreciate any comments and any suggestions. Everybody have a good evening. Thanks.